CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
We're back in Kansas City. Tracy Wolfson, double pay for you today in the rain. Down to you.
Well, thanks a lot, Jim. There are two X factors in this one, the weather and this environment. It is raining hard right now. It's going to rain throughout this game. Lightning is possible. Head coach Doug Marrone, though, said bring it on. He said we practice in it, we play in it. It rains at 4 o'clock every day in Florida. They are also hoping this rain can keep these fans away. As we know, this is one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL. There are some empty seats still. And remember, they need to establish the run in this weather. Leonard Fournette out for Jacksonville with the hamstring, Jim.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. And Kansas City defers as Butker sends it down the way. It's going to the goal line to Mickens. And they fake the reverse, and traffic greets him just in front of the 20. Blake Bortles coming in off of two of his three best games of his career. First against New England, 376 and 4 touchdowns, 388 last week against the Jets, sandwiched in between a loss at home against Tennessee. So they share the division lead through 4 weeks at 3-1 with the Titans. With Fournette out, Yeldon will be the tailback. Bohannon lined up at fullback. Yeldon gets the handle, and he's able to slip ahead for about 6, almost 7. This Jacksonville offense with Josh Wells getting his third start at left tackle. Linder is the center. He's had back spasm issues since last week's game.
Today, you just saw it right there. The way to beat Kansas City, they are not tackling well. 32nd in the league against the run. There's going to be big holes. Jacksonville, hold on to that football. You can win this game pounding the rock 30, 35 times today.
2nd and 4. And it's back to Yeldon. Decides to cut it outside. He's held up by Dee Ford for only a yard gain. This Kansas City defense, that has been a big point of emphasis for defensive coordinator Bob Sutton this week. He brought it up. Poor tackling on the season and the lack of takeaways.
Yeah, and the tackling's big, especially in this game. Takeaways, they have a way of coming in waves, but I can promise you right now, this defense has stressed the importance of gap sound and making the big tackle like you saw there. This D-line is playing good. Make no mistake, the D-line has 3 really outstanding football players in it, but they have to tackle on the back end.
A 3rd and 3. And Bortles goes from the gun. Pressure, able to flip it across the middle of the field to pick up the first down with Cole. He had a lineman crashing in after him, but he released it quickly, picks up 6.
Well, and that's Houston crashing in after him. And you'll see just up and under and right there getting to the quarterback. That's why Kansas City has a chance. This defense, most of the time when you see a quarterback or defense, that's not really ranked very good, it's because their D-line isn't good. This D-line is good. They just need to tackle at the linebacker and safety and corner positions.
Bortles took a shot to the jaw, delivered by Houston, no flag. First down, toss, and drop by Yeldon. He's felt the presence of Ragland and Ford in the area. Well, it was Ford on the quarterback, Ragland on the receiver.
Well, and you see right away, Ford coming outside and Blake having to get rid of the ball early. We can't talk about this enough. If you're Jacksonville and you think that you're just gonna not let your quarterback get hit against this D-line, that's not the way to beat this team. They need to run the football and make them tackle.
A 2nd and 10. And they give it to Yeldon. There's a quick hit. And a tackle for a loss of 1. Anthony Hitchens, your old teammate in Dallas.
He's an outstanding, he loves football. Hitch would call him, he would just all of a sudden always be in the locker room, be watching tape, and they love him here. It's a great addition. 53 right there, and that ball is going to be key. This is going to be a low-scoring game, Jim, I think. I'm saying 20-16, 21-17 type of game. Got to hold on to the football if you're both teams.
3rd and 10. That last play for no gain. And now Bortles. Incomplete, nowhere near the receiver.
Now look at the rain. You see Bortles. This ball just comes off the hand a little low and just about 12 to 22 yards offline there. It's going to be tough in this rain. I'm telling you, it's mostly about managing the down and distances. Try not to make your quarterback have to win the football game today, which is key in this rain, not having to throw it 35, 40 times.
Pass was in the area of O'Shaughnessy. Watch out for Hill, who scored the Chiefs' first touchdown of the season against the Chargers on a punt return, but they don't give him a chance to get his hands on it as Logan Cook punts it out of bounds on a 40 yards. And we'll see Mahomes and Kelsey and company coming up. 23-year-old Patrick Mahomes, second year out of Texas Tech. They moved up a year ago in a trade with Buffalo to take him with the 10th overall selection. He was mentored last year by Alex Smith, who was sent to Washington in the offseason. Mahomes given the job, and he has over-delivered off of anyone's expectations. Even though expectations were high, he has been nothing short of sensational.
It's outstanding and fun to watch. It's good for the league, and he is a good kid. And talk to him. Can't help but root for guys like this. And you're going to watch him have a true test today.
Look at this. Able to get into the hands of Hill, and Hill takes off. Hill has blockers in front. There's a flag thrown as he weaves his way back to the middle of the field, and Darius jars him down. It looks like it's going to be a blocking penalty on Kansas City. The play had gone for 40.
I think Sammy Watkins was holding Jalen Ramsey.
Holding. Offense, number 14. 10-yard penalty. This spot of the foul. First down.
It is on Watkins, and there had been a lot of talk this week. Hill, Ramsey, you mentioned those two names. They made sure that early Hill got his hands on the football. He was holding Boye.
Just got to let him go. He's already 15 yards. I mean, what an outstanding opening call. That's Kansas City for you right there. Everyone, Jacksonville kept talking, and I agree. Jacksonville's outstanding everywhere, but they have not seen a scheme like this. This is rare. This is different. You've got to keep your eyes exactly on your keys.
So it's a spot foul, and they have a first down with the penalty marked back to the 38. 21-yard run it's given in the books as they hand it off now to Hunt. And he's got about 2 with that one. Boye bringing him down. Of course, Hunt led the league last year. He won the rushing title with almost 1,400 yards on the ground.
He's almost an after.
It's suddenly become that, hasn't he?
Yeah, because there's so much talent and there's so much uniqueness, and then Mahomes coming on. But the thing is, they just randomly hand it off, and he's just really hard to tackle because you have to, game plan against all these other crazy home run type plays that you have, and you just forget a easy handoff right here to the left. All of a sudden, you get 7.
And it has stopped raining now just in time for the Chiefs offense to run its third play. Mahomes on the run, able to fire it complete to Kelsey for a short gain, just a yard.
Just a simple flat route by Kelsey, and everyone was covered on the play. And, this is the big matchup, though. You got Hill and Ramsey. We're going to watch this a lot today. Those hands by Ramsey, they're long. If they can get him at the line and not allow Hill to get a great release, he can handle him. But if Hill makes a miss, that's a home run ball waiting to happen.
3rd and 7. The Chiefs have scored on their opening possession in each of the first 4 games. 3 touchdowns and a field goal. But trying to keep the drive alive here, and there's a flag down.
It should be offsides. I didn't see any movement by Kansas City.
Here's Brad Allen with the call.
Neutral zone infraction. Number 97, defense. 5-yard penalty remains.
So now it's just a 3rd and 2 coming up for Mahomes.
You know how good that was? That was a double count, we call it. The quarterback said, hot, hot. And then the second hut, they snap, and boy, that's playing at home, the difference between at home and on the road. You can slow that D-line down with stuff like that. Pretty rare for the young guy to have that ability this early to feel comfortable.
Hey, I'm 44. I'm 44. Watch right now.
Mahomes points out Miles Jack. Spencer Ware is the running back. 3rd and a short 2. Gonna go up top for it, and it is a completion to Anthony Sherman, the fullback, for the first down in Jacksonville territory.
Well, just Sherman's going to go up and run a corner route, and really he's not that open. I mean, Smith plays the run and the corner, and he's a little under, but perfect ball by Mahomes. I mean,
And every day you see a fullback diving and making catches like that 15 yards down the field.
no, you're not kidding. Kansas City does it all, and you're going to see it all today. And Jacksonville has not seen this type of skill at every position across the board yet this year.
Fake to Hunt. Rolling right. Going to Harris underneath for a pickup of 4, almost 5. This Jags defense has not allowed a 300-yard passer in the last 15 games. And that front, so impressive. Campbell and Ngakoue on the edges. Of course, they've scored 9 defensive touchdowns since the start of the 2017 season. Todd Wash's defense can beat you so many ways.
Well, you see right now, there's no one deep in the center of the field. They'll get back there, but they're going to get down around that line of scrimmage.
2nd and 5. Over to Hunt. Gets out of the tackle for a moment. The effort enough to fall for the first down. Breaking away from Telvin Smith to pick up an extra couple.
And it's just a one-on-one match with Smith and Hunt. And Hunt's ability to just, be back from the backfield in running routes. They motion him out. He runs the football, outside zone, inside zone. I mean, he's just an outstanding talent.
Just a 2nd-year player out of Toledo, drafted in the same draft class as Mahomes, out of the 3rd round. First down, and Mahomes throws it over everyone's head. Nothing was there in the area of Hill. Ramsey on the coverage.
Well, this is why Ramsey is considered one of the best in the league. The one-on-one matchup right there, and watch, those long arms, don't let him get off the ball. That's not a penalty, it's under 5 yards. It's just Ramsey being outstanding and neutralizing. And he knows it too, look at him. See that? That's how I do it, right hand, left hand.
2nd and 10. Anthony Thomason to the lineup for Kansas City. As Mahomes goes across the middle, he's got Kelce. What a wiggle to get away from Jack. And he's tackled near the 10 by Ramsey. Another 15 picked up by the Chiefs.
This is another route. Watch Kelce on the right side. He goes up and then boop, right in the middle of the field. And that's on Smith. The same matchup they've gone at 2 or 3 times so far. And this is shocking. Smith doesn't usually get, targeted as the guy you want to attack over and over again.
Ramsey made the tackle, and he is assisted to the sideline, shaken up on the play.
Boy, this is really, Kansas City showing me something today on this opening drive.
Quentin Meeks comes in for Ramsey, who got injured right here. Head turned sideways trying to tackle Kelce, and they again bring in Meeks, who they just brought up from the practice squad, number 43, to replace him. 1st and 10, over to Hill. A couple of defenders waiting for him, including Meeks. And a flag comes out. Barry Church not happy about that.
Yeah, that's going to be a late hit. Half distance to the goal. But I tell you, you see that like motion, kind of the little pass. That's a pass in the NFL.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 42, defense. After this is to the goal, automatic. First down.
Those have to be a quarterback dream.
Yeah. Well, here's what they do. They motion, and it's just the quarterback catches and toss it, and they score more touchdowns, and they look at more tape and come up with new plays than anybody in the NFL. And you see right there, that's silly on Barry's part. He's already out of bounds. They did a good job handling.
Ramsey back out. 1st and goal from the 4. Mahomes might keep it, will keep it, and will find it. for the touchdown.
So watch Ramsey just get outside the pocket, and he sees everyone covered, and just that's the other part. He has the ability to just kind of step on that next gear, and he's faster than you think, and he's just, I mean, he can throw it, he's got feel, he's got touch, and then he's got speed. And you know, let's see if his knee's down, and the camera's down, and I think he looks like he's in there.
He can make it feel like things are upside down when you're trying to defend him.
From there, it looks good. I tell you, Kansas City, what they just did on that drive.
Ruling on the field of a touchdown is under review.
Oh yeah, that's a touchdown. This is outstanding. This is an outstanding start for Kansas City, Jim. This is really, really impressive.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Corona Extra. Find your beach. United States Air Force. Experience more at airforce.com. And by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network.
The touchdown has been confirmed. The second rush touchdown of this young season for Mahomes to go with his 14 touchdown passes on the year. And it's the first touchdown allowed by the Jaguars in the first half.
That's insane.
Butker extra point is good.
I thought you were going to go with the first drive.
Yeah, that too. Mahomes taking him right down the field. 73 yards for the score. Back after 30 seconds and a word from Lowe's and your first impressions of what you saw with Kansas City.
Well, I actually, you know, I've seen Jacksonville enough to know it's really difficult. And, I mean, to be honest, Jacksonville comes out in the pouring rain. Kansas City comes out and the sun's shining and it's beautiful. But this is still a Styles, and you know, you got the #1 defense, #1 offense. Kansas City's ability to kind of do everything on that drive shows that you really can't just take away one thing and then they're neutralized. They have way too many weapons, way too much, you know, really scheme to put their guys in unique situations. I mean, multiple guys got on Smith and used that against Jacksonville on that drive. And Mahomes is good. It's going to be a great test for Jacksonville today, and we haven't seen a great test for Jacksonville in a while. This is going to be fun.
To your point, though, what a time to defer. If you're Kansas City, you win the toss. You go ahead and kick the football in a downpour. And Jacksonville's trying to operate, picked up one first down, but I mean it was coming down forcefully. And then as soon as you punt, take a little break in the action, the skies brighten. Mahomes takes the field and takes them all the way to the end zone. Now, second possession for the Jaguars, and it's Yeldon leading it off as he did on the first snap of the game for about 6. Tonight on 60 Minutes, 2 of the women at the center of the Justice Kavanaugh vote. Republican Senator Susan Collins and Democratic Senator Heidi Heitkamp explain their historic votes tonight on 60 Minutes. 2nd and 4. This is the biggest deficit of the season, by the way, for the Jags. For the first 4 weeks, they never trailed by more than 3. Bortles going deep, and with a player draped all over, it is caught by DJ Chark, the rookie out of LSU.
Wow, and he stacks Steven Nelson on top, and they believe in Chark. They think this is his specialty, but what a ball by Bortles to put it right in the breadbasket. He just puts his hands out, and it's right there and makes a great catch. And if they have this ability down the field, that's big. Look at him pull his neck.
I mean, they didn't have a flag on that. I don't know if that's not interference. What is? But he makes the catch anyway for 38. And I love Chark. Took him in the second round. He's 6'4" and can fly, says Blake Bortles. He's going up top again, but not given the chance. Not given the chance as Chris Jones pounces on him quickly, and a loss of 6.
Chris Jones is an unsung guy in this league, and not everyone, you're going to learn about him. He's outstanding, and he has ability to do a lot of things. He's a monster with size, and he plays like a little guy. And, you know, as Bortles is looking down the field, he doesn't have the time to go through the whole progressions and get down to his fullback and tailback. That's the challenge. The Chiefs defense gives up a lot, but they're good on third down, and they can rush the passer. That's really what they're dying to get you in those positions so they can use their talent.
2nd and 16. Going deep again for Moncrief, and it's just over his head. Nelson on the coverage.
He was covered by Steven Nelson.
Moncrief's going to go right to the middle of the field, and Blake just feels a little bit of that pressure inside and makes that ball just go a yard deep. 3rd and 16. Field goal range, probably need 5 to 10 yards to feel real comfortable in these conditions. It's not raining right now, but the footing, I mean, to me, you're checking this ball down your back unless you get your perfect guy on the outside 15 to 20 yards.
Yeah, from here it'd be 55 yards as Bortles again going deep. Boy, Nathaniel Hackett must see something down the field as they've gone 3 times down the field. Hitting the one for 38 yards.
But the difference is they can't wait on it because Wells is getting beat by Houston. This D-line, if they get you to throw it, they can play to their strength. The problem is teams have been running so well on them, and they just haven't made tackles. When you throw it underneath, they just miss tackles left and right. This is playing into Kansas City right now, the way they're playing.
Doug Marrone elects not to go for the long-range field goal. Instead, Logan Cook punting for the 2nd time. First one traveled 40 yards. End over end. Bouncing at the 16. Hill grabs it, steps out.
All right, let's see what he can do again. It's a great start.
For context, what Mahomes has done through the first 4 games without an interception. Peyton Manning had 16 touchdowns, no picks to start off 2013. Then you got Dandy Don back in '66, and Mahomes this year with 14 touchdowns, no picks through 4 weeks. Their 2nd series starts with a handoff to Hunt, grabbed by the ankle and dives ahead to the 20 for a pickup of about 5. That first series, Mahomes was 6 out of 7, and he rushed for the touchdown.
Yeah, he looked flawless. We see him take advantage here on a rollout, perfect throw into the flat. And then the matchup on Smith 2 or 3 times on that drive. Tailback once, and Kelsey, and then the ability to scramble and run it in. He showed great poise, and really the reason he's been outstanding is he has a lot of different, challenges that he presents to the defense.
Here's Kelsey, the bottom. And they go the other side to Watkins, and he's got a first down near the 30. Sammy Watkins, who had been limited all week in practice with a hamstring injury, he's up today. He has a catch for 9.
I mean, this is really, the more I watch this, they throw a screen outside, they take a shot down the field, they bootleg, they hand off a normal one, they jet sweep you. I mean, they do everything like that you've ever, you may not see another one of these plays again, and then if it looks the same, it's because something completely different off of it with a play action somewhere. It's Andy Reid has evolved into, just an incredible improvisation type coordinator, head coach, special.
Play action for Mahomes. Just out of reach for Kelsey with Gibson covering.
It's a pretty good job by Gibson to undercut this, but Kelsey can run. He's fast for a tight end, and that ball just upfield a little. He wanted to stay flat, and on this specific play, Hill's carrying Ramsey out of the play to create an opening. For Kelsey coming across and just outside a little bit there.
He got up a little gimpy after being knocked down after the throw. Marcus Kemp comes onto the field for Kansas City, number 19 on the near side. On 2nd and 10. Delay give to Hunt. Shimmies around the line of scrimmage and falls forward for a couple. Telvin Smith on the tackle.
So early in the first drive, Jacksonville played what we call a shell coverage, which would be like 2 high safeties, Jim. One's not near the box, he's kind of back there. Cover 4, it's not cover 2, but they're kind of back there, not wanting to give up the big play. That allowed the guys underneath to take advantage of Telvin Smith. You saw the running back, you saw Kelsey. I don't think they're going to stick in that too much. You're going to see the safety start to get down and get around that line of scrimmage, and they're going to play man. There's the safety, Barry Church. They're going to be down there. They might come after him, but they're risking getting people up
Gibson,
there.
everybody coming after him. Got the pass away in time to Ware, who picks up the first down out to the 45. They had two blitzers from the secondary who almost got to Mahomes. He flicked it just in time to Ware to pick up 13.
What a call. It's a screen pass, and you see just this poise to wait to the last second by Mahomes, and just, it's a good catch too. But the play call, I mean, Jacksonville never pressures. They do it like once every couple of weeks, and to call your screen the one time they do it, wow, Andy Reid, exceptional.
They've already got 7 different receivers into the game off of 8 completions. Watkins turns it upfield, and he's got another, well, he's near a first down. We'll mark him about a half-yard short.
Well, you saw the motion, the strange motion that goes back and forth. Everybody in the league is trying to figure out how Andy Reid is coming up with these designs and game plans. And I mean, it's really fun to watch. And you know, we saw this. You look at Tony's tape room, Jim. I know you set this package up, but you see this right here. It's a fake, and it's just a pitch. That's a quarterback pass for a touchdown.
Yeah,
they do that, and then everyone across the league is stealing it. Like literally, there's like 4 or 5 teams doing that now last week.
And that's Hunt picking up the first down. Gain of 5. It's a tough pass to be intercepted, you know. I mean, seriously, the way you can now count those. And they are. The completions. We're seeing, well, you saw the number of teams around the league. I think Josh Cohen, who goes into the tape room with you, I think he's come up with 7 different teams this year have already run that same type play.
Yeah, if there's a great play, teams are dying to get touchdowns, right? So they watch the red zone cutouts of other teams who score a lot of points. So everyone's watching these guys, and you know, when you look at it, you're like, wow, that was just like a 1-inch little flip, and you're scoring touchdowns and walk-ins. They're going to steal it, and everyone's stealing Kansas City stuff.
Last play of the first quarter. Mahomes wanted to go all the way down the field. Instead, it's thrown out of bounds. You may have seen they've outscored their opponents 59-9 this season in the first quarter. A 7-0 advantage today. Mahomes gets hit here by Darius. After 1 at Arrowhead, Chiefs up 7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Snickers. You're off your game when you're hungry. Eat a Snickers. And by AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.
The Chiefs Hall of Fame here at Arrowhead as we bring you the second quarter from the Lynn Dawson broadcast booth. Chip Nance, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. First play of the second, it's Mahomes just over the head of his tight end, Demetrius Harris.
Mahomes is going to kick himself here. He's looking off to the right. He does such a good job with his eyes, but just as he comes off, and you see Hill and Ramsey. Oh, it was a screen pass, but he got Ramsey on that one.
Yeah, he can. Ramsey doesn't think he can be beat by Hill. Look at all the back and forth.
Everybody can be beat by Hill.
I don't think there's any question.
It's just a matter of whether the ball's going there on that play.
No. 3rd and 10. They protect the pocket for Mahomes. Pass is there to Watkins, and he's pushed out at the 10. Face guard comes flying out. Ramsey had it hanging loosely so he could continue to talk, and he lost it on that play.
Watch the protection. I mean, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, just forever. And then Mahomes with the instincts to throw it inside. Look at his eyes here. He looks left, looks right. See how it goes left, then back right, and then all the way to the right side of the field. You never get a beat on it because his head doesn't go exactly where he's thrown. It's a rare gift. He just has it. It's natural, but it's why he's here to stay, folks.
That was a 33-yard pickup. Watkins' 3rd catch. Back to Hunt, to the end zone. And they were going back to Watkins. Incomplete. Boye on the coverage.
Second and goal from the 10-yard line.
Look at his red zone numbers this year. 10 touchdown passes in the red zone to 8 different receivers.
Well, they're both outstanding in the red zone. I actually thought the key to this game was going to be the red zone ability. You knew Kansas City was going to move the ball and snap it.
Look at it. Hunt unable to handle it. Look at that. Trying to catch the Jaguars off guard.
And CBS's crew in the booth as well. Watch this. Well, just like, whoop. It's just a subtle hand signal for the snap.
Look at the blockers they had out in front. Harris.
It's a touchdown. Mahomes just a little bit inaccurate with the throw there, but another unbelievable design by Andy Reid, just getting somebody wide open.
3rd and goal. They've converted 2 3rd and longs on this drive. A 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10. It's 3rd and goal. Oh, the Jaguars were in the neutral zone, but they're going to have a pre-snap penalty here, I believe, on Kansas City, maybe.
No, they're going to call a false start. I think it's outside a receiver usually. It's got to be the slot. I think Conley might have moved.
False start. Offense, number 17. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Yeah, you just got to sit there, watch the ball. Quarterback's doing hot, 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 hot. You just watch the ball as a receiver. Conley's inside. You can see right there. Oh, there it is. Yep, he did it.
Just a little flinch. Crossed you 5, back to the 15.
Well, this is going to be big. It's 3rd and 15. Quarterback goes through a cadence, decides who to block. Jackson's got to get out of there, get back to the end zone.
Mahomes stepping up. Now will take off. Taken off for the end zone, and now will give himself up at a count of 4.
Another good drive by Kansas City, but it is a good stop by Jacksonville. Mahomes has to step up. 3-man rush. And as he slides up, there's no receivers on that side, so he kind of has to take off and run. If you have a bunch of guys flowing to your side, you'll see right here that no one's really going way across the field to the right.
Miles Jack
on that left.
Jack on the coverage of Hill. 11-yard scramble. Harrison Butker comes out. He's 4 for 4 on the season. Just 22 yards out of the cold wind. And a kick is good. This was an 82-yard drive that took almost 6 minutes to put another 3 on the board. 10-0. We're back in Kansas City, where the weather has certainly improved. After heavy rains most of the morning, and at the very start of this game, a minute and a half into the second, and it's 10-0 Kansas City. Now scored the Chiefs 26 straight red zone drives. Just their second home game of the year. It's impressive to look at 4-0 and to think they've already got 2 road divisional wins, plus a win at Pittsburgh.
Well, that Denver win last week, I mean, that's so hard to go up there and win. And for a young quarterback to go in that environment, I mean, I thought today was going to be a great challenge against this Jaguars defense, but that environment is every bit the challenge against a pretty good defense. This is an outstanding defense. And Mahomes, I mean, I really didn't expect him to come out and just start this way. I mean, this is perfect start for Kansas City. Jacksonville needs to do something on this drive, and they need to control the ball and the clock and let the defense rest.
They brought in Corey Grant at running back, number 30. Fake it to him, bootleg, and a pass tossed over to Moncrief for 6. And for more on Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes, let's go to Tracy.
Well, Jim, I've roamed a lot of sidelines, and it's rare to see a head coach sit on the bench alongside his quarterback, and certainly not as often as Andy Reid does with Mahomes. It's actually a meeting of the minds with backup Chad Henne, quarterbacks coach Mike Kafka, and they said it's really important with such a young quarterback to make sure they're on the same page, ask him what he sees, and then adjust.
Here's a 2nd and 4. Grant picks up the first down out to the 40. Well, when Andy Reid was visiting with us this week, and we tried to, Grant's coming up hurt. Remember, they've got Fournette inactive. In fact, he didn't even make the road trip with a hamstring injury. And Grant, who was kind of an X factor in that game against New England, came up with a lot of big plays on third downs. He needs some assistance.
Well, let's see. What he was grabbing is what? Ooh, right there. A little bit of that right ankle. See it right at the end. Ooh.
Ragland falls on him. Maroon's running back group getting very thin.
Welcome back to Kansas City. On September 25th, the Chiefs quarterbacks paid a special visit to the oncology unit at the University of Kansas Health System to help brighten the day of those patients undergoing treatment. And Jacksonville's A.J. Boye, who lost his mother to cancer when he was just a baby, is a member of the American Cancer Society's Athletic Council Board. He and the team are hosting an event next week to celebrate and honor cancer survivors.
All right, Tracy, with Grant help to the sideline, and it did not look good. There's Yeldon for a pickup of 5. The NFL and the American Cancer Society continue their longtime partnership on Crucial Catch to help the nation play offense against all types of cancer. Visit NFL.com/Crucial Catch to learn more and to complete The Defender for personalized tips on reducing your cancer risks. 2nd and 5. Yeldon again. Yeldon able to slip past one defender an inch near the first, but it looks like to be about a foot short. 3rd down coming up, and Grant is going to be carted inside. All they have left now, again with Fournette even staying home with the hamstring, and Grant going to the locker room. Brandon Wilds is the only other running back they have. Bohannon the fullback. 3rd and a foot. Jacksonville needing to do something on offense. They go Yeldon. What a hole for him. He tried to make a cut. He ran right into the arms of Kendall Fuller, but Jacksonville has new life at the 35. Gain of 17.
Well, just an outstanding hole that gets created. You drive a bus through, and Yeldon decides to run into the defender instead of continuing to go toward the end zone. He's like, I'm going to go right. Hey, let me just, where are you? There you are. But really, that's how they're going to win this football game. Keep the ball away from this juggernaut on the other side, and really just get touchdowns when you get in the red zone.
Brandon Wilds at running back, and he gets the carry. He collided for a moment with his tight end, Safarian Jenkins, picks up just 2. And Yeldon's coming back into the lineup. Of course, Yeldon was drafted 4 years ago in the 2nd round out of Alabama. And even his coach, Doug Marrone, was telling us last night, he's an under-the-radar type guy. Smart guy, he says. Does a lot of things without much acclaim. And they're going to be relying on him the bulk of the way now. With Grant heading to the locker room. There's the fake to Yeldon. From behind, Bortles gets hit. And he threw it in the direction of Cole. It was Dee Ford who was climbing on his back.
This is just the 8th time already Bortles doesn't have time. Dee Ford's going to come all the way outside the edge. And Jeremy Parnell, it really wasn't his fault. The tight end right there makes it so he can't kick step back and get enough depth to block for it. And Bortles has been under duress on 80% of his passes today. I mean, they need to run the football. They can't now. It's 3rd and 8, but you know what the recipe is coming in. They've just tried to throw it too much.
Set up screen. It's Yeldon. What a move. He cuts back to pick up another first.
That's how you beat them. You make them tackle. Throw it for a yard, hand it off, throw it for 3 yards. Make them tackle. That's Kansas City's Achilles heel. You see Yeldon. You know, you talked about it, 36th overall pick from Bama. He started here before.
Yes, he did.
They had
a lot of experience.
So they feel fine with him.
Had 100 scrimmage yards to go with those 2 touchdowns against the Jets last week. Two tight ends, new set of downs after the 10-yard gain. Yeldon getting a lot of work. Turns on the accelerator, picks up another 11 and a first. We've got update time coming from New York.
A jet that's light and fast.
Well, how about Sam Darnold? He's going to find Robbie Anderson, who is light and fast, and boy, is he fast. 76 yards to pay dirt. Jets take a 14-7 lead over the Broncos.
Back to Jim Nantz.
So Darnold goes deep. The Jets lead Denver. Broncos coming off that loss to Kansas City 6 days ago in the Mile High City. First down from the 12. And that's Wiles taking it inside the 10. This is just what Jacksonville needed to do, establish something on offense.
We said it before the drive. This defense needed a break. And you just, honestly, they just got a little, pass heavy on the first, 2 drives. They were going for home runs a couple times, and it's, I understand it. I just think you didn't need to do it that early. You need to establish, make these guys their weakness. Make their weakness. You got to test it. Make sure that they've tried to shore it up. And they don't really do that.
Yeldon has 49 yards on this drive alone. 2nd and 6, open, complete, but 2 yards shy. O'Shaughnessy knocked down by Parker right on the catch.
Well done by Parker. Shaughnessy's coming down across the field and just good tackle, and here we go. Key to the game, red zone touchdowns or field goals. It's going to come down to that at the end of this.
Passagno is down on the field. The 2nd round pick out of Villanova a year ago. Tano Passagno.
Look at the size, 6'7", 289. I mean, you got him, you got Jones. I mean, their size are some monsters. '92. You'll see him. And it looks like he did nothing.
Yeah, it was Parnell who made contact with him, trying to hold him off the edge. And he will limp to the sideline. We're going to have a big 3rd and 1 coming up. And you've harped on efficiency in the red zone a number of times. And this Jacksonville team has fantastic numbers going back to the start of last season.
Oh, yeah. In the red zone, they do so much stuff, but the ability to run the football, this is where you miss Fournette, though. Fournette's ability to get you that 1 yard to get the first down or the 2 yards to the end zone. It's, the other thing is you can line up with 5 wide receivers and everyone on the right. The Bortles can run the ball if you don't give a heavy box.
3rd and a long one to the end zone. He throws it, almost pulled down by Moncrief. That was Nelson covering.
Well, if you're Kansas City, you're loving them throwing a fade outside, and it's really a pretty good ball. Moncrief just late with his hands getting up.
Offense is staying on the field with a 4th down play coming up.
Oh, Doug Marrone, he's a gambler. I like it.
You like the call?
I like the call. This crowd just woke up. Whoa, here we go.
To the end zone. Incomplete! Broken up. Trying to find Safarian Jenkins.
What a play by Watts. Bortles hangs in there, throws it in front, and Watts barely nicks it.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925. Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. And by the Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
Can't come to Kansas City without a little sampling of barbecue, and Q39 on the short list with the best. What a play that was a moment ago by Watts. Verizon halftime report coming up with all the scores and highlights. And now the Chiefs take over at the 4.
Boy, they tried to draw him off sides right there. That was an old trick inside the 4.
Hunt for about 3. That was a 13-play drive that amounts to nothing, as the Jaguars had scored on 27 straight red zone drives. You like the call, going for it?
I like the call. I mean, Safarian Jenkins had a window, and Blake put a good ball. It was just a really good defensive play. And, I feel like you keep him pinned down there. The big key is not to let him get a first down for Jackson. If you do, this is tough. Man-to-man, you see all the way at the bottom of your screen, you got Hunt on a linebacker, Smith. They know it's man as a quarterback.
2nd and 7. Rushing 4. Pass fought for, incomplete. That's Boye breaking it up, taking it away from Watkins. This Jacksonville defense needs to come up with a play.
They need to stop right here. Doesn't hurt you then. Get the ball back in good field position. If you're Kansas City, you can flip this field position. It goes a long way to making Jacksonville feel like they're way out of this game. Right now at 10-0, they're fine. But if you go down and score, it feels like 3-4 scores all of a sudden to Jacksonville.
Timeout called by the Jags. Thing we've seen and we've spoken about quite a bit are these plays that you call trick plays, innovative plays. Kansas City certainly has a drawer full of them.
I don't know how you defend them when you add up all the weapons. I mean, look at, what are you saying to your defense here? Hey, be ready in case someone motions and we throw it to them, and the handoff, and then when they play action, the bomb play, and then be ready when they all stand around when they throw the screen outside. I mean, it really is. I mean, think about how much stuff you have to do on Monday and Tuesday, and what they did all off season to get these guys to know how to do all this stuff and to be so efficient at it. I mean, this coaching staff has done an outstanding job getting these guys prepared.
See what they draw up here on a 3rd and 7 from the 7.
This is when they get simple. You get an empty and you let this quarterback go and be good.
Open for the first. And getting out of the jam, they go to the reliable tight end, Kelsey. His 3rd catch of the afternoon.
This is a great read. It's really not supposed to be there. It's cover 2, but you see Kelsey finds a soft spot, and Mahomes with that great ability to just sit on that back foot right at the last second and fire it. His eyes hang down the middle. He is really, really good, Jim. Mahomes is outstanding.
Down from the 20. They go up the middle. Hunt knocked back by Darius. Well, this is the 3rd possession for the Chiefs. They've scored on their first 2. Both times driving at 70-plus yards. And they're able to get out of what could have been a massive change in field position had they failed to convert on 3rd and 7.
Now see how they're letting him get empty? This is how they did it at the end of the Bronco game last week. This is where Mahomes shines. His ability to read the field, move around, great plays.
Guns it right across the middle. And it's a catch by Hill. And they hurried in a line.
I remember watching young Tom Brady in his 2nd year. They let him go empty formation, and I was shocked back before people were doing it every play.
Hand off to Damian Williams. And the former Dolphin running back has a yard.
And I remember watching that and being like, wow. It was his 2nd year playing after they won it the year before, and they opened it up for him. Charlie Weiss comes out, opening game of the year, and he just lights it up. I mean, like 20 throws out of empty, and you're like, no one was doing that back then. You didn't want your quarterback to get hit. And it was exceptional and showed you where he was. I mean, all of a sudden it was like, how do you stop this guy? He was unbelievable. It reminds me, Mahomes, just you let him drop back there and just throw it. I mean, he's got a rare gift.
Hey, rip. Let's go, blue lady. Look tight.
2nd and 10. Blitz. Pass behind Conley. And that was Patman coming in from the secondary, trying to get to Mahomes.
Excellent timing. Watch Patman time that up. And Mahomes wisely gets rid of the football, but just a hair high.
So another third down coming up. The Chiefs have converted 4 out of 5 times. Converted by 4 different guys. 3rd and 10.
Getting that empty formation. This is letting Mahomes see the field, do what he does.
Stepping up away from the heat. Pass picked off. His first pick. And it is Gibson who comes away with it. That's also the first interception of the season by the Jags secondary. So Mahomes' streak comes to an end here in the second quarter, week 5.
The ball slips out. He's trying to throw in the middle, and the ball goes right too high.
The Chiefs have given the football away for the first time in 177 snaps. Mahomes picked off for the first time this season. Pass that was intended for Tyreek Hill. And now the Jaguar defense sets up Blake Bortles and company at the 41. Looking down the field, and he's got the ball knocked out of his hands. And it's recovered right away by Speaks. It was Ford who stripped it. And the Jags give it right back.
They can't block him. They can't block him, Jim, and they keep trying to throw him. Ford just off the edge. Bortles has no time. This is not on Bortles. I mean, that's straight to the quarterback, and Speaks comes up with it. Boom. Perfectly executed from a defensive coach's perspective. Sack him while hitting the ball right at the same time. Can't give this team a short field, especially after they just gave you one.
Boy, what a start to the season for Dee Ford. He's battling a groin injury for the last week, but he certainly looks at full speed today. And now the Chiefs get the football at their own 49.
Let's watch how he handles his first interception. This is the first time. I mean, this will be fun right here. Let's see emotionally.
Going to toss it to Hunt. And he has to work hard just for a yard, maybe 2. So you throw the interception, and then you get the ball right back. And if you're the Chiefs offense, you basically netted out about a 15-yard pickup.
Well, if you need
later,
you should throw more picks.
Right. You always said to these young quarterbacks, don't be afraid to throw a pick.
Yeah, you got to let it go sometimes. And really, if you go back and look, it's not 100% of Mahomes. He'll stop his route. That's why the ball sailed on him. Right, he was about to throw. Hill stops and lets it sail.
2nd and 8. Middle of the field left open for Kelsey. Cuts right past Church. Watkins up there with a block. And Kelsey ramrods his way inside the 10.
Kelsey is right here. Smith blitzes. Kelsey's on the safety. Now watch Kelsey. Boom. It's a hot route, we call it. He just run a one-step slant. Church has to come down and make that tackle, but good luck. Kelsey's like extremely athletic for a guy that size, and he shows you why. Look at that cut. I mean, this has weapons everywhere.
That's the longest play of the season for Kelsey. Goes for 40.
Here comes another motion with another motion with another handoff or bootleg or something you can't even figure out.
1st and goal from the 9. Mahomes goes for another option. It's Kelsey, and had he held on, it was Ramsey getting a hand in there. He would have turned around and scored.
But this is, I mean, we can't talk about it enough. Mahomes' ability to just process information quickly and get that ball, that's a touchdown.
Well, it's like we were going to say earlier.
I mean, he's got to catch that
on Grant.
Oh, and he knows it.
You know, Andy Reid talking about the energy, the retention that he has with the offense, and the fighter pilot eyes. That's how he described his young quarterback, who has 2nd and goal. Chased out of the pocket. Now on the run. Trying to improvise, where he's so dangerous. To the end zone, and it's wide of the mark. That was Conley who was the target. Ngakoue really laid it on Mahomes after the throw.
This is outstanding, though. I mean, no one at home, you're never going to know how good this was. He scans the whole field, stops, and then watch how safe and behind that guy. He almost threw a touchdown there when he wasn't open while taking the hit. And I mean, that shows me more than like a great throw, just the instincts, the vision, the feel, the poise. He's got it all.
He's got 3rd and goal. He has taken some hits today. From the 9. Pressure coming, trying to spin out of it. And he's taken down all the way back at the 25 by Yannick Ngakoue. Fowler was the first to stir things up, and then Ngakoue cut off all the angles.
Coverage sack, but here's the thing. The pass rush is good, and that's where he's going to learn when he watches the tape, where to attack these defenses and the weaknesses. He's looking to the left. That's not where you're going there. You should be throwing to the other side of the field to Kelsey on that, but he's still young. Gotta learn.
2-minute warning, field goal attempt coming up.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Gain. Seriously good scent. And by Lowe's.
It's going to be a 42-yard field goal attempt for Harrison Butker. After the sack, knocked him back to the 24. Jacksonville defense rising to that occasion as the Chiefs had it 1st and goal from the 9. Butker already good in this game from 22 out. There's an extra 20 yards on that kick, and this one also delivered dead center. 13-0 Chiefs back in 30 seconds after this from Farmers Insurance. The head coach continues to sit alongside his young quarterback, and now what can Jacksonville do inside 2 minutes to go in the first half, being blanked at this point, 13-0.
Well, they need to do something. I mean, Kansas City is going to move the football. We knew that coming in. It was about the red zone stops. We also knew that I thought Jacksonville, would probably keep them in this for a while defensively, and their offense would control the ball. At this point, Jacksonville's offense has really let them down today. Kansas City was not a juggernaut coming in on that side of the ball, but they look like it so far, don't they?
Yes, they have, especially with the pressure they've been able to apply to Bortles on passing plays.
It's been consistent throughout.
Yeah.
And now you're going to have passes this whole drive, most likely. We'll see if they can do anything to shore that up.
Let's get an injury update, Tracy.
That's right, Jim. Running back Corey Grant for the Jacksonville Jaguars taken to the X-ray room and has now been officially listed as out for this game. A left foot injury and a key defensive injury for Kansas City. Justin Houston in the locker room, questionable with a hamstring.
First down, Bortles setting up screen. He's intercepted, and it's going to be a pick six for Chris Jones. But a flag is on the field at the 20.
Oh, who's it on? This is a big call. Oh my gosh, this is a monster call. I have no idea unless someone's offsides, really, maybe? What else is there they could call that would go against Jackson or against Kansas City?
Personal foul, grasping the face mask, offense, number 78.
Oh!
The total play is a touchdown. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Well, Bortles is just throwing a screen pass. You look off left, and then you fire over here. The problem is, Chris Jones might be the biggest guy on the field, and he has this, like, I told you earlier, that young guy, that little guy kind of like movement.
You saw it right there.
I mean, it was like, wow, that was athletic. And, oh, you want the energy to rise up in this place, you just got it.
Looked like Jason Taylor, what he used to do when he'd get his hands on the football. It's the 13th pick six against Bortles since coming into the league. And that is a backbreaker right before halftime.
Kansas City's defense has taken a big hit this year. Everyone's like, well, that's an Achilles heel. The offense obviously is magnificent, but They are playing outstanding football today. Look at that. Excuse me. That's a monster doing that.
And the thing is, this is not a Jacksonville team that is really equipped or designed to be able to come from behind.
That is not what they were built for. And Blake knows he made a big mistake right there. This game was fine at 13-0. It's one drive away. You go down, kick a field goal there, score a touchdown, whatever. And Kansas City gets the ball to start the second half. This is not going any way Jacksonville had hoped to start this football game.
In the last 2 snaps for the Jags, they've turned it over. The strip sack and then the pick 6. No one's enjoying this first half more than perhaps Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator.
Yep. He's taking some hits these 4 weeks. They're 4-0. And, you know, people want to poke holes when you're 4-0 and be like, well, yeah, but they're showing you today they can play ball on that other side because they got some of those D linemen.
Huge kickoff down to the 6. And that's Niles Paul.
How smart is that? Yes, great job kicking it not into the end zone when you get to 15 yards.
I don't understand why more don't do that. That's Lucas on the coverage. And one more look at the costly mistake with our Romo vision.
Look at the eyes of Bortles. He's going to go ahead and scan the field, and then he's going to look left. And then right there he throws it. And what happens is you're trying to look off thinking that D linemen are coming to get you. But they're not. Jones read the play and went right to the back. And when you're looking off, you never see him.
Bortles over to Moncrief. And he's shoved out.
Well, you know you're in a hole. You know you just threw a pick to the house. There's still a lot of game left. At this point, though, you got to have some success. Something's got to go your way. You got to get this ball down the field and get in field goal range at least.
2nd and 1. Safe play to Paul. He returned that kick, and he's got a first down, gain of 6. Jags have 2 timeouts. Another throw across the middle, right back to Paul again for a gain of 8. And a timeout is utilized here by Jacksonville. Again, coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB and all the crew. You saw Phil, Boomer, and Nate, Coach Coward. We got all the scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Carolina jumping on the Giants. Detroit blanking Green Bay. Atlanta, Pittsburgh in a tight one. All those stories coming up at halftime. This is the biggest margin of any game right now in the 1 o'clock Eastern time window. 20-point lead by the Chiefs. Jacksonville trying to do something here in the final 72 seconds of the second quarter. Deep down the field. The defender fell down, and that was Chark of Jacksonville.
Well, this is the 3rd time Jacksonville has tried that pass. In the first drive, it's because the safety right here is going to move to the middle. And backside, these 2 guys are one-on-one. And that safety, though, they watched on tape all week. As he stays low, there's no help. And so they think they can run it, but it's a really tough pass. That safety kind of comes right down into that middle, and they think there's a ton of space. It's a hard throw right there.
I beg your pardon. That was Moncrief who was the target, not Chark. It's 3rd and 2. And Bortles lofts it, and there is Chark at the 30. And a flag on the field as he takes it to the 25.
Well, you see, that time they just threw it outside. They're not trying to fit it in that little window inside. Just throw it down the sideline like you have every other game, and we've practiced that a lot. It's a safer throw for the quarterback.
Officials on the far side of the field. in the area where Chark caught the football.
It's got to be on the defense, doesn't it? It's that far down the field unless he pushed off.
Pass interference, defense number 20. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
So Chark has his second 38-yard pass play of the first half.
You can see Nelson holding him right there.
Got a new left tackle in. Josh Walker is in for Josh Wells.
Is that based on performance?
Now they've had more issues on the right side. As Bortles tried to go back to Chark at the 20 with 50 seconds to go. Parker breaks it up.
Well, Bortles just moves into pressure. See him sliding up in the pocket there? He kind of gets himself into that pressure. He just needed to stay calm and back in that pocket, but that happens when you throw a pick, the environment, you start getting a little antsy. He's got to stay calm, and you know, he's been here before. You got to try and figure out a way to claw your way back one play at a time.
Watch Cole at the bottom of the screen. And flags off the snap. Nullifying the throw to Moncrief.
Neutral zone infraction. Number 95, defense. 5-yard penalty remains. Second down.
You know, talking to Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator who you admire so much for the Jaguars, he said he was absolutely horrified the thought of turnovers in this game. He said the 3 times he's gone against them, whether it was back in the Buffalo days or here at Jacksonville, it's killed us every time I go against them. And we've seen that already in this game with a strip sack and a pick 6. 2nd and 5. Hackett dials up this play as Bortles delivers the goods to Yeldon to the 20.
You're exactly right. That's a great point. And he just says if we can just somehow control the ball. You see a timeout right there by Jacksonville. You know, just if they can control the ball and not give them the ball, they have a great chance. And I agreed with him. I was like, their defense should hold Kansas City. Kansas City's going to move it, but they should be able to hold them to 20 points or so. Now, we thought it was going to be a downpour. That changed quickly. It's perfect ever. And this actually helps Kansas City because, you know, to me, the footing on the field is going to be a little damp wet. So the team speed, you know, for Jacksonville on defense gets neutralized a little bit. All right, no timeouts, 20-yard line. You can throw the ball inside. You got plenty of time, 1st and 10, anything in the playbook here.
Going for Cole. Cole almost came down with it at the last moment. Was taken out of his hands by Orlando Scandrick.
I know Scandrick well. He does a good job getting his hand in here. That ball, once again, Bortles throws these great balls down the sideline. And Scandrick sees it. He's got really good instincts. And he does a great job playing that ball right at the end.
Got another flag, by the way. Great play by Scandrick, as Andy Reid told us. He's an old man, but he's smart.
He is smart.
Been a good addition for them.
He's very good. He'll help those guys. He knows football, and he knows it cold. Andy's like us. What
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 55, defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic. First down.
Whoa.
Ooh, that'll bring the football down to the 10-yard line. That's a big one.
Oh, he didn't like that push.
This
Turns
is his
around
first
on that new left tackle.
Conduct for potential disqualification.
Second guy gets caught. It wasn't even that bad.
Wasn't much there.
I mean, that didn't deserve the penalty if that was it.
Certainly gives Blake Bortles all kinds of options. Getting halfway home to the 10.
Well, now you can run the ball, you can bootleg this, you can just drop back, any of it.
With 39 seconds. Steps away from the pressure. Looking at running. He'll take it down to the 3-yard line.
Now take your time, get up and get him on the line and call pass play. You're not clocking this, you're going to actually throw it. I'd be throwing fades outside.
From the 3, 2nd and goal. Pass batted in the air, and was it caught off the rebound? They say yes. Steven Nelson with the interception.
Oh my, this is a catastrophe for Bortles right now as you watch something. Oh, what a great Harlem Globetrotter Tip.
Yeah, right out of the layup line. But for Bortles and Jacksonville, they had gone 28 games without committing a red zone turnover since mid-season of 2016.
Yeah, and it's a catch. What you're not going to like is where Bortles hits this ball. Watch this.
Oh, it's right off of A.J. Cann, the back of his helmet.
Oh.
And that looks clean by Nelson.
Yeah. I tell you, Mahomes has an interception. Other than that, it was a really clean and almost perfect first half for Kansas City. And this is not an easy opponent to do this against. If anybody had any doubts that Kansas City might have gotten solved a little bit or something against Denver, you're wrong. This offense, outstanding.
First time Jacksonville's been shut out in any half since October of 16. 20-0 Chiefs. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station.
Want more stats? Hey Siri, who leads the league in touchdowns?
Well, it's 20-0 Kansas City at halftime, and we're looking at blue skies. The only folks that have had a harder time this afternoon figuring things out than the Jaguars are the weathermen, who told us it was a 100% chance of rain throughout the afternoon. And we got blue sky, and now I'm looking at the same forecasters, and they say we should be in the clear the rest of the way.
Well, it's perfect out here, and this is exactly what we didn't expect to start. And Jacksonville wanted rain, and they got it early, but it was only on their drive. And then the Chiefs just came out and really have dominated this football game. Right now, if you're Jacksonville, I still don't think you abandon the run. I think you run the football, you try and run it down their throat, and you get more aggressive on defense. I think you got to come after Mahomes and make him get rid of that ball fast and not let him stay on the field.
Here's Josh Lambo getting a touchback into the arms of DeAnthony Thomas. And the Kansas City defense came up with 3 takeaways in that half, including a score.
Well, they've been missing the big play. You know, we talk about it all the time. They come in waves, and you saw the first strip sack and then the pick 6 by a young talent, Chris Jones. And you know, then all of a sudden they weren't over. Ball off the head. Another really saving points, possibly 6, obviously 3 for sure there. That's outstanding for Kansas City and their defense.
Yeah, it was 3 takeaways actually in the final 7.5 minutes of the second quarter. Chiefs compiled 215 yards of offense as Mahomes bootlegs, finds Conley out to the 39, dragged down by Telvin Smith. Tracy, what did you learn at halftime?
Well, I spoke with Doug Marrone, and he was a matter of fact about it. He said, you know, they're making the big plays. We're not making the big plays. We need to flip the switch. And as for Andy Reid, obviously pleased with the 3 turnovers by his defense. But I asked him about Mahomes and the number of hits he's taken in that first half. He said he just has to be smarter. He told them, you're trying to do too much sometimes. Just get the ball out quickly and play your game. Jim?
Sacked 1 time, but he was hit on 3 or 4 other occasions. And that's Telvin Smith making a 2nd straight tackle.
Yeah, but there's always this thing from coaches, you know, don't try and do too much, but do too much so we can win too, though. And
a double talk?
But don't do too much, but make sure that we're scoring touchdowns and field goals and we're moving the ball. I mean, it's a fine line you play over and over again. But he's going to hear that the rest of his career. He has rare gifts. He's always going to be doing too much, but he's also going to make everyone look brilliant in that building a lot, too.
He sends out 5 wide, 2nd and 10. Slides to his right and throws with speed. That pass incomplete. And Hill says, I caught it. It's right in front of the Kansas City bench.
We're going to need to see this pass.
Got a flag thrown back in the area where Mahomes threw the football.
Well, he's lined up inside, and that's always a ding-ding for him going across the field with that speed.
Holding. Offense, number 72. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And it's pointless. could rewatch it just in case we want to, but really the hold is all that's going to matter.
And that's Fisher trying to contain Ngakoue.
How about the offensive line? I mean, I think they've done a really good job today against them.
Mahomes grew up looking up to quarterbacks like Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, he said, and you, Tony. Does he remind you of anyone?
He's got a little bit of a lot of different guys. I mean, the obvious one that stands out is just the instinctful, rare gifts of, you know, the left-hand arm throw, the far stuff like that, and the bombs that he throws.
Like this right here, and it's broken up. Double coverage, back deep by both Ramsey and Gibson on Hill.
You know, the ball barely comes out of his hand, just a little off. Otherwise, he had him. This reminds me of the Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson stuff. They don't even care what coverage you play. We're just going to outrun everything. Oof. It just comes off his hand a little bit. He knows it right there. You see it. He's like, oh, man. He's like, if I threw that a perfect spiral, it goes another 5 yards.
3rd and 20, back at the 29.
Ooh, that's the quarterback. I used to do that in practice. We got to show this replay.
False start. Offense number 15. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
You're worried about the coverage and everything, Jim, that you say set, hot, and then you, oh, where's the ball? Oh, up, hot. Again. You're like, gosh, that's on me, guys. I'm the one who told you it was on 2, and I'm the one who went on 1. Oh, that was, coaches are like, are you kidding? What are we doing?
What they're doing, they've got to pick up 25 to pick up the first, all the way out to the 49-yard line.
They got to throw a screen or just something small here, right?
Chased, throws it from the 7, and that's just short of the target. Tough throw, but almost got there to Conley. And the Jacksonville defense able to take them off the field. It's going to be the first punt of the game for Dustin Colquitt.
First punt of the game against Jacksonville's defense. That's amazing.
Colquitt, his 14th year, University of Tennessee. His freshman year, one of the assistant coaches was Doug Marrone at Tennessee. Fair catch made back at the 22 by Mickens after a 53-yard boot. Let's see if the second half's any different. This is what the Jags did offensively in the first half. The big one's the 3rd one down. 72 yards without scoring. Going for it inside the 5 on 4th down and being denied. That was 10-0 at that time. Could have gone field goal, would have been 10-3. Went for it. You like the decision.
I was okay with it at the time, but you obviously now as we look back, it's, you know, they got no points on the board. You know, they need something to go their way. But those two red zone drives, that's been everything for them.
Here's Bortles. Fires it to Westbrook, who's off racing to the 47 of Kansas City. Tripped up from behind by Kendall Fuller. Gain of 30.
You'll see crossers in the middle of the field. This is who Jacksonville is at their core. They didn't do much of that in the first half. They tried to scheme them and like do some stuff down the field. Didn't work. Now they're going to throw the ball. They're just going to run what they run. And there's their biggest play of the game from their own end zone.
And that's a short run for Yeldon. Give him a couple. Well, you said this is an offense that's not built to come from behind, but if you do something here, the first time you handle the football in the second half.
100%. You got to trust your defense to get some stops. I mean, you do have the #1 defense in the NFL. At some point, they're going to slow Mahomes down. It's just a matter of, you know, they got the first stop there. Like you said, stay committed to the run. You got a lot of time.
2nd and 8. Yeldon. Chiefs are there. He was knocked down.
Oh,
I think one official may have marked him down at the 45. I'm not sure the knee ever touched.
I know, but if he doesn't mark him down, they get those extra yard and a half.
2 or 3
maybe
yards.
2.
Yeah.
Pretty athletic play by you. Look at this right here. Oh.
The ball.
Yeah, I guess the forearm down probably. Here we go.
3rd and 8.
This pass rush has been getting them after them all game. Let's see if they at least did something to neutralize it.
Look at all the Chiefs that look like they may rush. How many of them are going to drop back? Pinch the edges as Bortles fires it in traffic, and it's broken up as Paul took a licking at the 30-yard line. And they bring the punter out.
You'll see everyone going to the middle of the field. This is a staple of their offense. Ball hits them in the chest. Sometimes, for some guys, the ball is not a perfect spiral.
Oh my gosh.
That makes it tough for Paul.
Look at Alan Bailey.
I mean, how many times they hit the quarterback when he's throwing today?
Kidding.
That really is, to me, the number one thing so far in this game. The defensive line for Kansas City has dominated in the past game.
Logan Cook. Trying to punt away from Hill. It bounces at the 6. Coffin corner it is. Going to be somewhere around the 2-yard line. Yes. Beautiful punt by the rookie from Mississippi State. 43 yards. Pins the Chiefs at the 2.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by McDonald's new Trick Treat Win Game. No purchase necessary. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by FedEx, possibilities, what we deliver by delivering.
The Nelson Atkins Art Museum here in Kansas City. Meantime, the Chiefs take over at the 2, up 20-0. We'll go with Hunt, and that's Campbell down low, Smith up high. This matchup had been highly billed coming in. What have you seen, Tony?
Well, I think Ramsey has done an outstanding job on multiple plays, but the problem is he motions so much you don't get in. And then you see, obviously Hill's going to get the best of you at some point, and that's inside. That's an incredible release right there.
Hill has 2 catches for 15 yards. He's also rushed once for 21.
But just his presence is a big deal. And really, Jacksonville's defense, the offense has given up multiple points in possessions.
And it's a toss over to Watkins. Boy, they were really playing way off the receivers. They got a first down, and we've got an update. Back to New York.
Pittsburgh, crisp.
Starting the second half right here, Ben Roethlisberger's going right down. Look at this throw right on the money to Antonio Brown. 8-yard touchdown pass. They take a 20-10 lead over the Falcons. That's the second touchdown pass of the day for Ben Roethlisberger.
Late in the third, back to Jim Nantz.
All right, thank you, JB and Boomer. That's a good one and an important one on both sides. Atlanta and Pittsburgh both off the slow starts to the season. Set it down for the Chiefs from the 13. And that's Hunt stacked up after about 3. We'll check his numbers. Hunt now 10 carries for 23 yards. We were here a year ago at this time. Actually, it was week 6. The Chiefs were 5-0, and Pittsburgh came in. Remember that game?
They were flying high. Alex Smith was the MVP of the league at that time. That's going to be the adjustment for Mahomes. When teams start to slow down some of their special stuff, your ability to now adjust yourself, that's going to be key for them going forward and him as a young quarterback. Because they will eventually slow down a little bit.
2nd and 7. He completes it to Thomas. He's able to carry it near the 30.
That's just way too soft. Ramsey outside is, there's no reason. That means he's tired. To me, that means you're tired. You've been running around the field all day, and you're just trying to take a breath or a break. And you see right there, yeah, you can see he's trying to catch that breath, because, I mean, you got to motion in man-to-man with Hill. When Hill motions across the field every time, you're running across the field every time as well. That's the same as running a route, and the DB doing that, that's a lot.
Here is Hill on the reverse and tripped up after about 4. Miles Jack. It's a great point, Tony, though, how much extra energy you have to burn just trying to keep up with Hill and all the motion.
Well, yeah, the coach does a good job. The defense coordinator, Todd Wash, right there calls zone. He's like, hey, he could tell if Ramsey's giving up 10 yards of space on a hitch route, I need to give him a break, which now you just call a soft zone coverage, so he doesn't have to get up there and do that.
It was 26 yards on the ground. That's the top rusher.
This is man-to-man. Look at right here. Here's the matchup. Ramsey and Hill inside. They love looking there.
2nd and 5. Completes it to Conley. And they've got another first down.
Made that look easy throwing that ball. That's not an easy throw, but
that flag's on the far side.
There's a flag on the flag.
see how Ramsey gets his hands on him, though, real fast? It's hard to get off that ball there when you're inside.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 21. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
7-yard gain and a first down on its own. Tonight on CBS, see why critics are calling the new drama God Friended Me heartwarming and a truly original story. God Friended Me tonight after 60 minutes, only CBS. So a drive that began back at the 2 has already advanced across the 40. Picked up 3 first downs. To get to this point, and he'll hand it off to Hunt. Barker's in front. Hunt getting some running room for the first time today. And he doesn't go out of bounds until he gets to the Jaguars 35. And a flag's thrown. Couple of flags on the back end of that.
Andy Reid is screaming at one of his players. And there's a lot of
you think Telvin Smith thinks it's against Kansas City?
I think he's aggressively saying it's against Kansas City.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 27, offense. It's a 15-yard penalty. It'll be first down.
Let's see what he did out of frustration.
Oh, he hit him in the helmet. Yeah, he pushes his. So when he comes back, he's going to come back, Hunt, and right in Smith says he's going to hit him right in the helmet there.
By the way, he just last night was handed a $26,000 fine, was Kareem Hunt, for lowering the helmet in a run against the Broncos on Monday night.
Well, welcome to another $26,000 fine for lowering your helmet.
On the 50, it's 1st and 10. Look at this little play. To Kelce! Wow, he wound up that pass from his hip. And Kelce got away from Miles Jack, and he has a 100-yard receiving game on 5 catches.
I mean, how do you, if you're Miles Jack, Kelce's going, look at this touch, but he's got to cover the run, the jet sweep, and then the out cut, and then the out and up. And then look at the soft little flick of the wrist.
He doesn't even step into it because he sees the defender Ngakoue coming in.
He doesn't even know he does that. It's an innate, just God-given, uniquely, that's what I say, he's here to stay. He's got that, like, sense, sixth sense.
Went for 30 to Kelce. Spencer Ware. Met right away by Malik Jackson and Ngakoue. Yeah, those are the type of throws. It's natural for him. It's obvious.
Yeah, and you know the thing is, he doesn't even know he's flat-footed, and he flips it. It's just his brain tells him someone's around him. I can't step into this, and he just kind of, his arm can't keep following through. Remember earlier, Blake followed through, and the ball kind of fluttered. You know, Patrick just stopped his arm and flipped it, and just stopped his body. It's just It's a gift.
2nd and 10 from the Jags 20. Chase is on. That was Jackson flushing him out of the pocket.
Crowd wants a late hit.
Yeah, he shoved Mahomes all the way past the 40. And they don't like it here, but there is no yellow marker. Malik Jackson. He's used to playing in this stadium as a longtime Bronco.
That really could have gone either way. I think he's looking at it right there in front of him at least, but I'm okay with that. He did pump fake like 4 times in his face. It's like, what time are you going to actually throw it?
What am I supposed to do?
They're erring on the side.
Got to play it out. 3rd and 10. And heading to Hill, incomplete.
One-on-one with Ramsey there.
That'll bring Butker out for another field goal attempt.
So watch, it's a back shoulder and you're throwing a fade. Hill does a good job getting his hand around and he tries to come back, but Ramsey drives him all the way to the sideline and makes it so that you're just out of bounds without even knowing it there.
Ramsey says about Hill this week. Hill said Ramsey obviously thinks an awful lot about his ability, which is immense, by the way, folks. And then Ramsey says, folks, let's make one thing very clear about this matchup. I was first team All-Pro as a corner. He made the Pro Bowl and the All-Pro as a returner. Let's set that straight. I made it as a corner. And the field goal is good by Butker. 38 yards out and 23-0 now, Chiefs. Saturday, the best game for the best conference. Georgia heads to Baton Rouge to take on LSU. And the day kicks off with college football today at 3 Eastern on CBS. Kansas City has had 5 drives that have lasted over 5 minutes in weeks 1 through 4. They've had 3 today. They put together some nice drives. They've only punted once. And now Bortles and the Jags will again start at the 25 as we go back down to Tracy.
Jim, injuries piling up, though, for this Kansas City defense. Linebacker Justin Houston is officially out with a hamstring injury. Safety Eric Murray, he is out with a lower leg injury. And safety Armani Watts, questionable with a groin. And remember, no Eric Berry hasn't played yet this season. For Jacksonville, though, left tackle Josh Wells, he is out with a groin injury, Jim.
So Wells has been replaced by Walker at left tackle, 73. He's done a pretty good job since coming in there, quieting things down. Yeldon has the football. And look at him ridden down. Nice tackle by Nadi, bringing him down. Rookie out of Florida State. Bortles takes something off of it, back shoulder, no, well behind Cole. Of course, Bortles, the first 4 years of his career, he was backed up, Tony, by Chad Henne, who is now the backup to Mahomes here at Kansas City. There's a great bond and friendship. Here's Chad Henne between Bortles and his old teammate. They went out to dinner last night. Henne actually was saying this week to the media he thought he could really help Kansas City prepare for Jacksonville. And so far, you'd have to say, whatever that information was, couldn't have hurt.
It's working.
3rd and 9. Across the middle, tough throw. Oh, what a catch.
Did he come up with it?
That is Westbrook, T.D. Westbrook, right in front of Jordan Lucas for 23.
Front him. Let's see it. The deep over coming across. What a throw and catch. Wow. That's a catch.
Great catch.
They needed that, didn't they? I mean, they needed something.
Near the 50, Bortles. So Moncrief for 5. JB and Boomer keep the updates coming.
Coach Cowher says a little drama doesn't hurt Pittsburgh.
That's right. After blocking a Falcons punt, James Conner is going to go in 2 yards. James on the day, 17 carries, 97 yards, 2 TDs. Steelers take a 27-10 lead over the Falcons.
Back to Jim Nance.
So Conner having a big day. AB with a touchdown catch. Here's a 2nd and 5. Wide open. That's Cole. And coming over to close him out is Lucas. But the Jags with a couple of nice plays. First to Westbrook, and then this one to Cole, and they're inside the 20.
And he slips Scandrick inside, and then Scandrick, ends up tripping. But the ball is perfect. I mean, this is the best throw of the day. He's had some good ones. The problem is these big plays aren't as important as the turnovers or the big 4th down you don't score on that. They don't make up for it. You gotta punch it in.
Here's the throw to the end zone, and it is Yeldon with the touchdown catch. Gonna go for 2 here?
Oh, it's a good question.
Yeah, 23, if you go just extra point here,
you could still get it.
It's still 2 possessions down.
So you go 7 here, then 8 and 8.
There you go. Look at the throw by...
Do enough math, that'll get me close.
You're on it.
But you see how the big plays, they get you down there, and then you got to be able to finish that off. Today has really been nothing more than, the 4th down stop and the turnover down there. I mean, without that, you're looking at almost a tie game.
Extra point, Lambeau. It is drilled. 3:10 to go, 3rd quarter. Got a flag down on the extra point try. Bortles made some impressive throws on that drive.
And he made a couple earlier. Remember the couple down the field?
To Chark.
Yeah.
2 times for 38 yards apiece.
But this is the one thing. It's almost like golf. You could hit 10 good shots in a row. But if your 11th and 12th are out of bounds, your 10 in a row aren't nearly making up for those. I know this because I've done it a few times.
Not that often, but...
The PAT is good. After the play is over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 95 of the defense. That 15-yard penalty is assessed on the kickoff.
Well, it's still 3:10 to go in the 3rd. You're going to be kicking it from the 50. You might want to think about, who knows? I know it's early to do something. And there is the penalty.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Here to help life go right. And by Walt Disney World Resort.
We are back, and they reviewed that penalty during the timeout. The officials did, and they have now thrown Chris Jones out of the game. Well, he has been disqualified for this throwing this punch. In fact, right in front of an official.
Yeah, you're not really allowed to punch people in front of the official. That's probably a no-brainer. Jones played a great game. He had the pick 6. He's out. Isn't Houston out?
Look at this little pooch kick. That's some serious airtime, and Harris wanted to give it up to Thomas. Loses a helmet, but holds on to the football. I was wondering if they might think about onside kick there, Tony, but they decided to go ahead and try to pooch kick it.
Yeah, they had the 15-yard penalty. Ooh, look at this. So when you're like, don't hit my head, I'm down. Well, Chiefs are down 2 defensive linemen here. I don't think their pass rush is going to be near as good when they come back out. This offense needs to keep this ball for a little bit and move it at least.
With Hunt. And Brian, the rookie first rounder, wraps him up after 1. Harrison also in on the play, another rookie out of Alabama. Next Sunday, CBS's Super Bowl season continues. It's a doubleheader day. First, always an important divisional showdown, AFC North, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. And then we'll be down in Dallas, Jacksonville, taking on the Cowboys next Sunday. Doubleheader day on CBS. All kicks off with the NFL Today at 12 noon Eastern. Second and 9. And Mahomes has Hill wide open. Ramsey gave him plenty of room.
Ramsey, he's picking his spots right now. Look at the space. I mean, look at that respect right there. That's 10, 11 yards and backing up. And then don't drive on it. Kind of sit and wait for your guys to come in from the inside. And that's, to me, that's nothing more than just basically having run a lot today and not being able to go 100% on every single play. Now, if people are dropping out underneath you in zone here, that's one thing. Like on this play, he has help underneath.
That's Church coming up. Get the hit on Hunt.
The play before, he didn't have the help. The zone coverage dropping out.
Quarterback numbers in this game. Mahomes has thrown for 260. Bortles has thrown for 230.
And really, this, if you look at the numbers, you would say Jacksonville's defense has done as good a job as anybody, you know, against him. And it's just Bortles and the offense for Jacksonville's turned it over in opportune times and given them points on the other end. And Kansas City's been able to move the ball pretty good today.
336 yards of offense to this point for the Chiefs. 2nd and 7. And down the field, he's got Hill. He got a step on Ramsey that time. But we do have a flag back in the offensive backfield.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, 97, defense. 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the run, automatic, first down.
The pass play goes for 36, and they'll add another 15.
Well, Hill and just Mahomes, just soft touch under pressure. And that is a penalty. Now watch, bye. And that's Hill right there. He's outstanding. And you know, you can't be, I mean, Ramsey has done a pretty darn good job today on him, but there's no let up. He just keeps coming at you. It's the Energizer Bunny. It's just boom, boom. He's like, is he ever going to run out of batteries? Nope.
Now Mahomes is within 4 yards of a 4th consecutive 300-yard passing game. This is a pass play. It's to Watkins. And Watkins takes it down to the 3. Patrick Mahomes has just become the first quarterback ever to throw for 300 yards in 4 of his first 6 career. Well, for 4 of his first 6 games to start a season. At this age, youngest ever.
Wow. Well, that's what we talked about. Andy Reid just getting his quarterback 15 yards like it's nothing.
1st and goal from the 4 to start quarter number 4. 23-7 lead. And looking for more when we start the 4th from Arrowhead. Back with Tony Romo and Tracy Wolfson, Jim Rickoff, Ryan Galvin, Mike Arnold, the guys producing and directing the show, and the finest technical team in the NFL. Jim Nance here at Arrowhead. We start the 4th. 23-7 lead for the Chiefs with a 1st and goal at the Jags 4-yard line. It's Hunt, and it's Hunt taking it across for the touchdown. And there's Pat Mahomes. Eric Fisher delivered the big block for Kareem Hunt to bring it home from 4 yards out.
You got to worry about so much stuff, and then they just hand the ball right straight ahead, and it's like, whoa, yeah, we got to defend that too. Just a great job by the Chiefs. You know, 2 tight ends on that play, Kelsey and Harris, both clearing the lane.
And for Hunt, that's his 4th rushing touchdown in the last 3 games. Butker, one of the best, knocks it through. And the Chiefs have put up 30 now, 30-7. What was one of the key plays in the drive that you found?
Well, the play that got him down there was down the side. And the great thing, though, is Mahomes' eyes. You see how he looks left? You see his head right there? He's going to look left. But now let's bring that back. Yeah, see his head? He's looking at that safety in the middle. So he holds him with his eyes right there. that safety, and now all of a sudden he goes back to the left and fires it instantly. That safety's not even close to getting over there to help. That's a great job by Mahomes being able to do that at such a young age.
And Mahomes putting up the first 300-yard passing game against Jacksonville since, well, a full year ago. 15 games ago. And there's his father, the former Major League pitcher for 11 years. Mahomes with four straight 300-yard passing games. That ties the Kansas City franchise record. Only Bill Kenny and Trent Green had ever done that. 4 consecutive games. And now Mahomes joins him. No run back again. For more on Mahomes, we go right back down to Tracy.
Well, Jim, like many baseball players, Patrick Mahomes Sr. extremely superstitious, and it all begins before the game with a pregame hug with his son, Patrick. And guys, he is at every game. He wasn't planning on it, but he feels as though as long as they're winning, he's going to keep being here, and he's going to wear the same thing, a Mahomes jersey, white linen shorts, and red Adidas shoes. Guys, he doesn't care if it's after Labor Day or if it's cold. He's wearing those white shorts.
Yeah, those baseball players are superstitious.
It's a great time in your life, I can imagine, as a parent. Your son, you know, my dad, I remember those things are just, enjoy it.
There's a completion to Moncrief.
Not much like a proud dad. Proud mom just watching their kids. That's a gift.
For both sides.
Absolutely. I know how much you cared about your father. All right, Bortles got to have a big, fast drive now.
As Westbrook walloped, and he holds on at the 50. That's Nelson who decked him. Westbrook with the catch. Oh, now they rule it incomplete. Ruled it incomplete. Okay.
No gain on the play. Second down and 10 from the 43-yard line.
It's no strange thing for any team to prepare for a road game by trying to crank up the noise at practice. And the Jaguars tried everything they could this week, even pumping in jet engine noise through the speakers, trying to simulate this decibel level. Second and 10. Sidewinder complete to Paul, and he carries a couple of Chiefs for the first down. Of course, you thought when the game started out, and again the forecast was so gloomy, and all those dreary skies, yeah, they were. It was raining full force for the opening series of the game. Chiefs deferring to Jacksonville, and the Jags had to try to move the football in a monsoon, but then it just went away. What a hit again. That is 2 of the last 3 plays. Westbrook has been laid out, this time by Orlando Scandrick.
Well, Scandrick, I've seen this a million times. He comes off the corner in cover 2. That means he has the flat. He doesn't have to go all the way deep into the field. So he can kind of read the quarterback, and he comes flying in. And you get just those good instincts. See, he has the flat out here. He doesn't have to go deep, so he gets to, ooh. That hurts.
Second and 10. Westbrook still in the game in the slot to the right. Bortles pass. He tried to wind that one up.
He doesn't think he has much time. That's a quarterback right there who's getting that ball out a 1/10 of a second earlier than he normally would on that throw, because he knows he's been under duress all game.
Third and 10. Just inside 14 minutes to go.
If we're giving Jacksonville a chance, which I'm not sure you are, but if you are, they need this.
Right here. Well, it was never going to be close to a first. Scandrick makes another play, denying Keelan Cole, and Jacksonville will have to go for it here on 4th down.
You know what? Obviously it's a good job by Scandrick playing inside on the slant. This is why I like Doug Marrone, though. How many times do we see guys just pump this? Like, he doesn't care if they lose 42, 44, 51-7. They're going for this because he's like, this is the only way we have a chance to win. I don't see this very often, and it's obvious you should, but teams just don't want to lose by more. They give up.
Ford is teeing off. Bortles gets it away. A fight to the first down marker, and O'Shaughnessy wins that battle over Terrence Smith to pick up the first.
I mean, don't we see that all the time? You're just kind of giving in. Good job by Jacksonville to go for this. Who cares if you lose by 40, 20, or 50?
Yeah, what are you protecting?
Nothing. All right, now if you're Kansas City, you got to hold up here. Don't want this to allow them to get a little momentum back.
No one touched him. Bortles almost regained his balance, and Smith, who had just given up that last play, this time comes barreling across and gets the sack for a loss of 5.
And you see Brandon Wilds, new running back, just miscommunication. That's his guy. Where are you going, Brandon? Come back over and get him.
Again, they're playing without Corey Grant, who was knocked out in the first half with a foot injury. Fournette back at home, hamstring keeping him out of action.
Yeldon's back in the game now.
2nd and 15. Bortles being chased. And that is a catch by Yeldon. Quite a catch, too. Caught it on his hip. A yard short of the first.
It's a good job by Bortles. Get out of the pocket, and you know, the Chiefs tackled pretty well today. This is not the same team that you've seen on tape where they're just missed tackle after missed tackle left and right.
3rd and 1. Bortles has it. And he'll pick up the first down at the 21. Did a good job with the ball fake. Nathaniel Hackett's father, Paul, was a longtime offensive coordinator here in Kansas City for Marty Schottenheimer back in the 90s. Nathaniel was a ball boy and worked in the equipment room for the Chiefs. Here's a 1st and 10. Ford coming from behind again, and that led to an interception. It's Jordan Lucas. Lucas breaks a couple of tackles. What a run back. Oh, finally, A.J. Cann ends it. This Chiefs sideline has run out onto the field to celebrate that effort.
Well, watch Dee Ford off the edge. Makes Bortles feel him again. Chiefs.
How about this defense of Bob Sutton? They were 32nd through the first 4 weeks, and they come up with only 3 takeaways. But they've got 4 today alone.
They come in waves.
That's Brian, the Wyoming Wildman, as he's known. He throws down the ball carrier Hunt after a gain of 1.
It really was a matter of time. I mean, their D-line gets pressure on the quarterbacks. That's not their weakness. And then on top of it, Sutton's teams have always been pretty good in takeaways. Like you're never like, oh, they're going to go through a season, you know, and have 3 interceptions all year or something. They create turnovers. They've been pretty consistent. It was just, they just needed to get it going. And by the way, this week last year, week 5 was against Pittsburgh. 5 interception game on Ben Roethlisberger. This was the coming out party for Jacksonville last year, if you can remember.
Only a 30-9 win. Here is Mahomes' pass for a 9-yard gain to Watkins.
And Jacksonville hadn't had very many. Then all of a sudden their defense was really, you know, great after that. Kansas City's trying to do the same thing for their defense.
That was a game where Fournette broke a 90-yard run. This was at Heinz Field. And again, without Fournette, they've seen that now several times this year, 3 times last year. What difference does it make? I mean, what do you say about that? Great play, 1,000 yards. Yes.
Yeah, I think the big thing you missed, I mean, one of it is you see the kill, timeout by the head coach, doesn't trust you're going to get it off in time. The big thing difference would be teased for after the break.
That's right. You're getting this television thing.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Honda. Awarded Best SUV Brand by U.S. News. Uber. Doors are always opening. And by Progressive Insurance. Handing off big savings to you.
Ranked as one of the top 25 museums in the United States, the National World War I Museum and Memorial in the great city of Kansas City. And their Chiefs inside 10 minutes away from going to 5-0.
See what you did there with that city thing. I follow you.
3rd and inside of 2. Holmes picked off for the second time. It's Boye spinning away for a moment from Kelsey. And again, Mahomes had not been intercepted coming in. He's been taken advantage of twice today by that secondary.
Yeah, this is actually the one time. See, the receiver goes upfield right there and creates a space, but really, this is all Mahomes. I mean, this is exactly when Andy says you're trying to do too much, where I'm like, that one is definitely too much. You know, that's the play. It's 3rd and 2. You don't want to punt. And you're like, I want to stay out here, and you're young, and you're just, it's 30-7. This game's over. Throw the ball in the dirt, slide. You know, the only way this game could possibly humanly something catastrophic happen is for you to like give him the ball right there. And they're still going to be fine, but those are all learning experiences for him. Unless they throw a touchdown right here, Jim. Right back in.
You had that scenario on the last Jaguar possession. Let's see what they do. To Paul, and he goes back about 3 yards after the catch, tripped up by Fuller, who came to Kansas City in the trade with Washington to send Alex Smith to D.C.
2nd down and 8 from the 44-yard line.
Second and 8 now. Had a man there. It was Moncrief.
His receivers don't understand. Bortles doesn't have time. They're getting their head around way too late. Blake's not at fault. A couple of these down the field throws, they're just receivers' heads are taking too long to turn around. They can't pick up the ball.
I can tell you what I'm going to watch right now. On this play, 3rd and 8. I'm watching 55.
Okay.
Dee Ford.
He's moved to the other side,
Yes,
though.
he has.
What are they doing? He's only gotten 14 pressures from the right, but he's up top right here.
To Paul, and again he fights for the first down. Where are they giving the mark?
I thought he actually got it, but they got him short.
It's his 5th catch. Put him about a foot short, 4th down.
They doubled your guy Ford there. Let's see if he gets it. Second effort.
And Ford, by the way, is down on one knee.
He's like, why am I on the other side of the field?
Yeah, I liked it better coming in from the other side.
But he gets chipped by the watch. He's got the running back's going to come out and give him a little boom right there.
This is the first of 3 home games in a 4-game stretch, but the one on the road is one where you want to make sure Dee Ford is playing. That's next week at New England.
You have Houston out. You got the other one ejected in Jones. And now you have him. Those are your 3 big guns up front. And they all stand out on tape as playing good football. And you need these guys to be healthy, and you need the other one not to get kicked out every game.
He's had a big day. He's been a game wrecker.
Yes.
Yeah, that hit by Yeldon right underneath the shoulder pads in the chest area.
Well, that could be ribs. You never know what it is, but
worth it a foot.
Here we go.
Bortles keeps. Bortles plows ahead for a new set of downs.
Blake Bortles, the ball carrier.
And now about after one play, Dee Ford's coming back out.
Football players are tough, aren't they? I've seen you get bumped by your kids in here sometimes, and you still keep going, though, don't you?
You know, play-by-play announcers are tough, too. You'll learn it.
After all the years, you say, Jameson, I'm going again.
Come after me, son. Pass play, just out of reach for Cole.
Bortles pass intended for Keelan Cole. He was covered by Orlando Scandrick. Second down and 10 from the Kansas City 47-yard line.
There's Jacksonville coming in tied in the division with Tennessee, which beat them down in Jacksonville 2 weeks ago. And Tennessee and Buffalo are going to come down to a field goal at the end up in Buffalo. And Bortles, meanwhile, is swamped by Xavier Williams.
Well, we don't even block Xavier Williams. He's right here. He just comes free. And there's two offensive linemen for the Jaguars standing there. Parnell goes down, and Williams goes out. And hey, Blake, if you didn't get hit enough today, I'm just gonna, come in here untouched.
3rd and 15. And again, they come after him. Spins away for a moment. Nowhere to go. Can he get rid of it? No, it's going to go as a sack. As Ford chases him all the way to the water cooler. And a late flag coming in. Ford says, what? What did I do?
There's a flag on the play.
Just a little bit of good news for Jacksonville. And their divisional foe, Tennessee, appears to have lost that game up at Buffalo as Steve Hauschka kicked a field goal with a second to go to give Buffalo the win 13-12 over the Titans.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting, number 55 defense. It's a 15-yard penalty. That is number 55's second unsportsmanlike conduct. By rule, he is disqualified.
You've seen all the videos that Riveron's office sends out. You cannot stand over an opponent, peering down on him and taunting.
Yeah,
okay, we've got to make sure that New York knows we've got a disqualification here, Lapatina.
That's his second one. He's out of the game.
That's now 2 Chiefs who are going to be taking early showers.
Well, this is the game to do it.
4 personal foul calls on Kansas City today.
I guess if you're the coach for the Chiefs, you're like, well, let's go get them healthy. Head on back in. 2 great D linemen. See you next week. Bortles has had no time today. I know he's got turnovers, but they have blocked nobody. The Chiefs' front has been dominant in this football game. And Patrick Mahomes,
look at this, leading on the cheers,
is getting this crowd going. Look at, he's doing jumping jacks, and it's not just to get warmed up.
47 dropbacks. Look at that, 4 sacks, 7 hurries, and knocked down 8 times.
I think it's more than that. I think sometimes when they slide in the pocket, they don't call those hurries. They are.
I was here once when they set the Guinness World Book Records decibel record.
That had to be a night game.
It was a game against Houston. And they broke a Seattle record. They were going back and forth for a long time in those 2 stadiums. And actually, they're having some debate on whether or not they should disqualify him, we understand. Here's the first down play. And thrown in the direction of Bohannon. Yeah, they're still actually, they did announce to the crowd that Ford had been tossed, but now we're hearing they're actually giving us some second consideration.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Is there a rule or not a rule? We've decided we're giving special consideration. We'll inform you shortly.
Kansas City has been issued a bench warning too. Just passing along what we're hearing from the office. The league pass off the hands of Moncrief, and now confirmation coming in from our esteemed Jim Rickoff that Ford is out for the game.
Well, at least we have that defined. You'd think this game was 17-7 right now with this crowd noise, and I tell you, the Chiefs sent a message to the AFC and the NFL today. Nobody does this to Jacksonville. They just came and did it.
3rd and 10. That'll quiet things down for a moment. First down grabbed by Moncrief at the 30.
Dante Moncrief. Tackled by Jordan Lucas.
I tell you what, the big question I'm going to have going forward is, I mean, Denver's one of the toughest places to play environment. Jacksonville's one of the best defenses. If they can't slow them down, I mean, how many teams even have a chance?
Well, it's going to be some tilt next week up at Gillette Stadium.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes threw 2 picks today.
Yep.
It didn't even matter.
Where's Kansas City last year opened the season at New England with a win.
You said next week?
It's next Sunday night.
Wow. Okay.
2nd and 4.
No good quarterbacks in that game, are there?
Sidearms it. Stopped 2 yards short of the first by Parker. And it's Westbrook with the grab. Bortles, by the way, has gone over 300 yards passing for the game on this drive.
Well, we said it, though. He's going to have 50 passes by the end of the game. They have 15 rushes. They averaged over 5 yards a carry easily. I'm sure it was 6 or 7 earlier. I mean, the recipe is the opposite of that against the Chiefs.
Down the middle of the field, and almost pulled in by O'Shaughnessy.
Bortles pass intended for James O'Shaughnessy. He was covered by Terrence Smith.
Good route. Ball just a little high.
Another 4th down play coming up.
That's so cool. I do like that. It's the old Braves thing, isn't it, too?
It is. Florida State. Here's 4th and 3. Bortles continues to drive it toward the goal line, and it's a touchdown.
Well, that was random. Holy cow. That
He
just
runs
turned
it
into a
from
touchdown
21
somehow.
yards out.
And he's going to get the first down and get a little bit more. Danny's just going to score. Look at this. It's like he's going down, and he's like, no, not you. Nope, not you. And then I'm...
That's close. Nelson. I don't know what Nelson was trying to do there.
That's how they've been tackling, though. I mean, that's why coming into this game, it was like run the ball. They just kind of throw themselves at you sometimes. Let's see. I think he's in.
I did too.
Mostly just because, you know, we want to keep on a schedule and everything. Yeah, he's over. Well, we're
pylon camera.
Yeah, but I mean, he's that right there is so close. I can't overturn it though. Watch, it's like, yeah. No, it's under review. It's a quarter of an inch.
Yeah, it's fractions.
I mean, it's like, okay, you can see that right there, and just barely gets down.
All right, they're going to take more time to look at all the video evidence. Okay, they reviewed it, and the call stands. It's a touchdown run of 21 yards for Blake Bortles, and now Lambeau will try to bring it to a 16-point margin. 5:46 to play. And you're not kissing off anything yet here as far as an end result. A couple of times just that if this happens.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you're doing a game, I think for us up here, we always are like, well, there's always
never know.
That's the quarterback in you when you're trailing. You're just like, if this goes right and this goes right, and those 4 people get hurt, and then those guys get kicked out, and then you're like, okay, we're back in it.
A couple of those have actually happened.
Whoa, then this is a game.
They've actually had 2 defensive players kicked out of the game on the Kansas City side.
Takes 1 onside kick, 1 bounce of the ball, turns things quickly in this game, but you know, I think we're probably seeing the end of this game, but like I said, the only way they could really have come back was if Mahomes gave him that ball there, and, you know, learning curve he's going to have to go through sometimes.
There are the numbers, just a yard apart.
You know, the big thing, though, too, is a couple of the red zone stuff. has been big. You know, we talked about it earlier.
You're talking about the most efficient red zone team in the league, surprisingly, last year in Jacksonville. Here's the onside kick. And the ball in the middle of the field.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Might be Lambo, the kicker.
Uh-oh. What were you saying, Jim?
It is in the hands of the kicker. How about that?
This game is not over now.
No. Joe DeCamillis, he knows how to coach his special teams, doesn't he? And look at this. Oh, the kicker go in after it.
Yeah, but we need to see from a different view. Did it touch the foot before 10 yards?
The ruling on the field is that Jacksonville
It's not the
legally
kicker. It's
recovered the ball.
right there.
It will be first down.
No, it's after. It's after. Let's see. Right there. Ooh, I'm telling you, this is closer than it looks right there. You might have to look. It touches his foot right there.
Catches the back of his right foot.
It's after.
Challenge flag is it's thrown by Andy Reid.
I like that. There's absolutely. This is 100% worth it, whether you're right or
Kansas
wrong.
City is challenging the spot of the touch for the legality of the recovery.
This is going to be interesting, looking right down the line. You're going to see.
When does it get close to 22's foot? Right there's the first chance. That's
one
after.
that one looked like it was past it. Of course, that's not a exact. Cody Davis talking about 22.
So we're at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That doesn't show us. That shows us it touches him well after. I mean, all these angles look like it's after now for sure, but
This one should give you an idea because it takes this flat bounce. That pretty much confirms it was past the line, and it should be Jacksonville football.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Jacksonville touched the ball beyond the 10-yard mark. Therefore, Kansas City is charged a timeout and loses the challenge. First down.
First down at the 48 of Jacksonville. And again, Coach Andy Reid is missing a couple of key components of that defense.
just a few. Their three best players. Dee Ford, Justin Houston, Chris Jones.
That's all.
Is that bad? I can't. Is that frowned upon here?
Hey, silly, is that?
I'm going to have to plead ignorance. Here we go.
All kinds of time. Finally bails out with O'Shaughnessy. Slips through a tackle and is able to pick up a first down gain of 11. Coming up, the State Farm post-game show. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cower. All the latest NFL scores and highlights on the State Farm post-game show.
It's not under 5 minutes, so the clock will continue to run once they reset that ball. That's why it's running right now.
Littles threads it to Paul, who's had a big second half for them. Do have a flag down in the offensive backfield. Play went for 19.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Low contact. Number 57. Defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Not a good penalty.
Well, no one hit him up top. It's got to be a low hit. No one was in front of him.
It Speaks.
Yeah. Speaks going low. Yep.
No question about that.
Well, look at the difference in the pass rush, the pocket now. I mean, he's just stepping up, looking down the field, throwing it 15 yards over the middle. Wow, this is less than a minute. They just got the ball back, and they're in the red zone inside the 11.
Bortles just minutes ago ran it in from 21 yards out. First down at the 11. Sidesteps some heat. Throws it dangerously in the area of Paul and a couple of Kansas City defenders. Clock stops at 4:46 on the incompletion.
Skandrick should have intercepted this, I think. He was so looking at the... I mean, he's literally looking at Niles Paul that forgets that the ball's right in front of him there. Remember now, they got to get 2-point conversion as well, even if they end up scoring.
2nd and 10. From behind, the heat was coming and the ball was dropped. Wouldn't have gone for much anyway for Moncrief. Now a 3rd down call coming in from the sideline.
Well, watch on the outside. Speaks just runs right around the edge and gets pressure, and there's no more time. Bortles can't wait for him to get any further across the field, so Moncrief's a little surprised by the ball coming that quick again.
What will the old Chiefs ball boy send in here? The pride of Blue Valley Northwest High School here in the Kansas City area. Nathaniel Hackett and his offense. Desperation time, 3rd and 10. Pass through the hands of Cole. There are a couple of defenders there that would have prevented him from advancing it too far. And now another 4th down play coming up.
Well, once again, Speaks off the edge, makes him throw this ball early. It's the timing of all this, you know, just isn't working for this offense. He has to let these balls go before the receivers are turning on their normal time frame. In their heads, they're getting caught by surprise that the ball's up on them.
All right, now by your standards, if. And this is one of the last ifs, if it doesn't work, to stay in the game. Jacksonville on 4th down. Finds Cole. The fight is short. He is stopped short by a yard. Kansas City closed in on him. And they'll take over on downs. Fuller and Lucas were both converging.
It's the correct play. It's the only guy that's open. He's got to let the ball go. You got to do something there, Cole. Got to dive. You see the yard marker. It's 4th down. He tries to take him on a little bit, but short. Well done by the Chiefs.
The 3rd time today, Jacksonville comes up empty in the red zone.
Exactly right.
Went for it twice on 4th downs, stopped, and another interception that came in the 2nd quarter. Bortles in this game setting a Jaguar team record with 55 pass attempts.
Well, even if you kick field goals on all those, you know, right now it's a 1-score game. 30-23. Turnovers, red zone.
Jags have all 3 timeouts. They back up, punt. Is able to scoot ahead a little bit, get maybe a half yard out of it. Timeout.
So Jacksonville's going to use all 3 timeouts right here. If they make them punt, they're going to get this ball back with around 4 minutes to go. Once again, you'll have to get another onside at some point, but theoretically, you'd have a chance if you got a 3.
Yeah. Boy, talking to Doug Marrone yesterday, he was so excited about the fact this game might be played in nonstop rain. We expected when we came here today, they even delayed the teams from being able to have early warm-ups on the field because there was lightning in the area, so they were warming up inside the tunnel. And he said, I like games like that. Spoken like a true old offensive lineman. You know, my team likes to take on the personality of the coach. And he said, I like those mud games. I was a mudder. That's Hunt up to about the 9, but it's been dry since really the first drive. Through the first quarter, yeah. We got a Chief player down.
Ooh. This is interesting because they're timeout now.
This is going to be their right guard, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. Dr. Tardif. It's leg injury. He's surrounded by his teammates.
And you see him right here. Isn't he the one who...
Oh boy, that is something to watch.
Isn't he going to medical school? Is that right?
Oh yeah, he's gone through all that. He's had a McGill University of Montreal.
Look at right now. He's saying, "Listen, guys, it's the medial like," and he's going through all
self-diagnosis.
Yeah, and he's just like, "I want you to go ahead and do this." Yep, you see that, guys? You don't do that at the school I went to. Ouch. McGill. That's the Alabama of the, is it north, southwest?
That would be in Canada, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Struggling to get to the sideline. The right guard for the Chiefs, Duvernay Tardif, is replaced by Jordan Devy. And now it's 3rd and 3. Jacksonville with 1 timeout. 4:21 on the clock.
False start, 3rd and 8.
False start. Offense number 87. Half the distance to the goal. Remains 3rd down.
On 3rd and 3, you're going to toss this ball to the right. You're going to feel comfortable about getting that 1st down out on the outside. You see Kelsey going down right there. 3rd and 8. Now you don't feel great. You're like, we really do want a 1st down and end this game. We don't want to risk throwing it either. This will show you how much confidence he has in this young quarterback right now. To me, you just do the same play you were going to run, and you see they're probably going to do a run to the right.
It's Hunt, and he looks like for a moment he with that burst, and he would make it with ease. But a great tackle by Jacksonville, Miles Jack, and they'll use their last timeout. 4th down on the way.
Charge timeout. Jacksonville, their 3rd and final. Within 30 seconds.
Great play by Miles Jack. We'll bring Colquitt out to punt for just the 2nd time. He punted at 53 yards on the only other occasion. Mickens is going to drop deep for Jacksonville. Actually going to bring another return. Have 2 dropping back deep. Chark will also be back deep. Was there contact? Yes, there was. Flag is out. Chark makes the catch on the ground. That came on 4th and 1.
That's the ball game.
Colquitt, by the way,
Running into the kicker,
a little
defense
shaken up.
number 55. That 5-yard penalty results in a 1st down.
Lorente McRae.
That's a penalty. Can't do that, Lorente. Oh, right there. Well, he does a good job extending out, and then punter Dustin Colquitt does a great job selling it after the fact.
It looked like he might have been injured, and now he's just going to tie the shoe and be okay.
No, it was very soccerish. Yeah. I'll never play again. Penalty. Okay, I'm good.
Look at that, slipping right through a little opening about knee high. Hunt takes it for a 1st down.
Great vision by Hunt. Cut back all the way, and then 1 cut up the field.
He's up to 84 yards on the ground, including a touchdown.
Right there, that's the special teams coach, Joe DeCamillis, talking to McRae and being like, trying to tell him why. And the coach is like, well, but I had to do it because of this. He's like,
And that's the one thing we couldn't have happen.
Yep.
No gain for Hunt. We'll have the State Farm post-game show coming up after this one. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cowher, all the scores and highlights on the State Farm post-game show. Maybe, who knows, maybe it'll still be an OT in Cleveland as the Ravens and the Browns are tied 9-9 going to, they're into the extra session. And for Cleveland, it's their 3rd overtime game out of 5.
That's normal.
Yeah, no kidding.
3 out of 5. You may not play in 3.
Having tied Pittsburgh week 1 and losing last week at the Raiders in overtime, 45-42. Again, they're on the ball carrier. Kareem Hunt in a hurry. That's Campbell. Knocking him back for a loss of 1, which will take us down to the 2-minute warning.
Chiefs 5-0.
5-0.
And they
Think
look
about that. The only undefeated team in the AFC.
I'm telling you, today's win is a statement to the rest of the league. Like, everybody knows how, like, Jacksonville's tough. They're physical. Like, if you beat Jacksonville, usually it's 17-14, and, you know, ball went your way, or your defense slowed down their offense. Kansas City did everything well today.
Dejection on the sideline of the Jaguars. The Chiefs are going to stay undefeated. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, enjoyed by giant blue fictional knights everywhere. And by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network.
We are back with just 2 minutes to go. And the Chiefs and the Rams, the only undefeated teams in football in the NFL. Rams playing at Seattle in the late window.
You know, going into this game, you mentioned it last night when we were talking to Coach Marone with Jacksonville. Coaches are so each week, right? You know, they live in this world of right now. But you said down the road, you're like, this game has implications. Like, Jacksonville 3-1. They win today, they're both 4-1, right? At the end of this year, them and throw New England in those 3 games right now, you're like, those 3 teams are going to be in the mix a little bit, is what you're thinking going into this game.
Yeah, we always have to. You've discovered it now as a broadcaster. You always got to look at this big scope, big picture. What does it mean? Coaches get locked in, understandably, on the week-to-week matchup.
Yeah, and players too a little bit. But you're right in this sense. If you're playing at Jacksonville and you're Kansas City, that is a way different defense you're going to see in January than if you're playing here at Kansas City. So that offense, this was a monster performance for them to come out of here and win. Because if it does somehow get close at the end of the year, let's say they're 12-4, whatever it is, these teams, and there's a tie or something, and Jacksonville gets to play them here, I can tell you that is a drastic difference when you're going against a defense with that ability and your ability to snap count. You saw it today. He used a snap count great, got the defense to jump off a bunch. You're right. This could be bigger than people know down the road, not having to go there and play against that defense there.
Well, you know, in college football, Army, Navy, and Air Force play this little round-robin thing during the course of the season called the Commander-in-Chief Trophy. I was thinking of 3 premier teams in this conference: Kansas City, Jacksonville, New England. Okay, Jacksonville's supposed to be. Yep. Kansas City plays at New England next week. Here's Mickens. And he is going to be taken down by a couple of Chiefs at the 9-yard line. But if you were Kansas City and you won this, or if you were Jacksonville winning this game today, you would have been 2-0 in that round robin.
Yes.
Having already beaten New England. And now next week, Kansas City will try to make it 2-0 inside that circle.
Yes. Yep. And you know New England's going to be around. I mean, let's not think they're not going to be in this to the end.
But if Kansas City wins that game next week, that would drop the Patriots to 3 3. Just saying.
Oh, they got a
losses to Jacksonville
3-game lead on
and Kansas City.
The only thing that, when you say that, you're 100% right, and I don't think this is going to happen this year. But weren't they 6-0 or 7-1?
Yeah, last year. You Kansas City?
Yeah, and then they lost like 4 out of 5.
Well, we were here to see the first loss of the season.
Yep.
When it was Pittsburgh, and then of course there's that crazy Thursday night game up in Oakland.
Oh, that's
where
right.
the Raiders had like 5 chances to get the last play of the game.
Then they lost to Dallas. We did that.
2nd and 6. And that's Yeldon for the 2nd straight play. Now up to 8 catches for the game.
Just imagine how rocking this place will be if they get home field advantage to the playoffs. To come here and go against a really good quarterback and this stadium and this environment, oof.
Bortles does a good job getting away. Plants the feet, fires it down the sideline. He's got Moncrief.
So 3-2, the big loss to Tennessee. That was surprising, right? Who do they got coming up?
And then Tennessee lost today at the wire on a field goal by Hauschka. Buffalo beats them. So Jacksonville will go on to be 3-2, tied with the Titans for the AFC South lead, though the Titans did beat them already in the first match of the two. We'll be with Jacksonville next week at Dallas.
That's a big one now.
Before home games leading into the bye week. Houston and Philadelphia. Actually, the Philadelphia game is over in London. Counts as a Jacksonville home game.
Yeah.
Bortles, if he completes it, he's got his first 400-yard game, and he does. I know that's a little consolation with some of the plays he would love to have back, but he goes over 400. He eclipses his career-high passing yardage mark that was set just last week, and this coming, of course, on the most attempts in Jacksonville history by a quarterback in a game. 59 passes.
He's going to hit 60 right here. Don't hand it off. Just get 60. There's like a nice round number there or something.
If you're going to throw it, just go ahead and throw it.
Wasn't that the game plan coming in, though, against this Chiefs defense? We want to throw it 60 times.
Yeah, sure. We heard that a lot, didn't we? There's 60. It's Paul, and he's out of bounds with 9 seconds to go.
Complete to Niles Paul.
60 passes. The Chiefs are going to be dead last again in yards and everything.
That's
It's not
right.
going to tell the story about how good
right.
the defense played.
Andy Reid is going to be picking up career win number 199 today. That's regular and postseason wins. And next week he'll go up against a quarterback that was drafted number 199 back in 2000.
Oh, that's a good one.
Here we go. 9 seconds and we can call it a day. Bortles in zone and intercepted on the 61st attempt. Scandrick.
Boy, what a pickup for them. He's starting to play some good ball. He showed flashes last week and really only gave up one play in this game. I mean, that was just a bait by Scandrick. Look at him. He's looking right at you. He diagnoses where that ball is and goes and gets it. And outstanding, Orlando. Really well done today.
First and 10, Kansas City from the Chiefs.
The 4 interceptions by Bortles, that's a career high.
Number 77.
The same game he gets a career yardage mark and a team record pass attempt mark. Disappointing day for the Jaguars, losing for the second time. But Kansas City continues to be one of the big stories in this league. 5-0 with its sensational young quarterback who went over 300 yards again today. Didn't throw any touchdowns, ran for one. Bortles becomes the first quarterback to throw for 400 yards and 4 interceptions in the same game since Tony Romo. Ethan Cooperson just sent that down to me. Look at that smile on his face.
Gosh, I don't know if that's a good thing. Or... What game was that?
What game was that, Ethan?
Was it college or
high school?
Had to be 2011 or 12.
2012.
I feel like I was throwing the ball in 1 second during
2012 versus the New York Giants. Ancient history. How did you feel after that one?
Probably not good. Usually you don't win those games. Although we did win a 5 interception game up in Buffalo.
On a Monday night.
That's right. Jags just need to, you know, it's going to come down to their offense at the end of this year. If their offense plays well, they're going to win the game. If their offense doesn't play well, they're going to be in every game or have to really battle it out. But I mean, you look at the stats, you'd even argue that this is the best anyone's played, like we said, against Kansas City in that offense. I mean, it's the worst game statistically Mahomes has played by far.
Yes. Tony, it's been a blast, my friend. We'll start it all up again next Sunday down in Dallas.
I'm going to try and make it.
Look forward to seeing you there. 30-14 Chiefs. Coming up next, the State Farm postgame show for Tony and Tracy. Jim Nance saying so long from Kansas City.